Now, look, the question about whether you can leave a chat room, those group chats that you've got for the kids' school or for the stag do that you're going on or the bridesmaids group or whatever it is, how difficult is it to leave them? And I think this is an interesting question because I think this is where new world meets old world because it's quite difficult. It might appear rude and we don't like to be rude. So when I talk to Louisa Guise, I'll ask her this. We're going to find out, is it even possible to leave a chat group? Lynn Bowles here, BBC Radio Wales, and I want to ask you a question. When did you last pick up your mobile or tablet? What were you doing? Scrolling for holidays or news, bit of online shopping, or just checking your messages? And how many times do you do that? Have you ever got involved in a group chat and couldn't find a way to leave? Well, my guest, Cardiff-born Louisa Guise, is here to help. She's been on tour with her book, How to Leave a Group Chat, and she's found a little bit of time to talk to us. Hello, Louisa. How are you?
Hi, Lynn. Good afternoon. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Now, come on, Louisa. Come on, fess up. How many times have you checked your phone today?
Probably too many. But to be fair, it's with me right now because I wasn't sure, if I'd log on okay to talk to you today. So I had to, take every single precaution. But normally I do, when I'm home and I'm working, I do leave it in another room so I'm not tempted.
Do you? Oh, that's interesting. Would you just kind of find yourself whiling away the hours on it otherwise?
More so previously. I think writing my book, How to Leave a Group Chat, has definitely opened my eyes a lot. So I've definitely started becoming more conscious of my phone use. Mm-hmm. It was interesting because when I started leaving it in another room, sometimes I'd think it was in another room and then I'd come to a different room and I'd feel my pocket and it was right there and I didn't even remember picking it up. No joke.
I like it. Now, there are, of course, many positives to being able to access people and information very quickly, aren't there?
Oh, absolutely. And that's why this medium was developed in the first place. It was actually made to improve business communications, to make them quicker and easier. So it was actually originally group chats, or the forms of them that were developed for purposes, for this very purpose. And it's definitely, ticked all the boxes there, you can say.
But have we lost the ability to enjoy a face-to-face conversation? I mean, there was a report recently that suggested some people were afraid to pick up the phone and make a call as opposed to sending a message.
Yeah, well, face-to-face conversations and telephone calls, they're even two different things. So the actual telephone calls, if you think about it, you're picking up, and we're talking landline, you're picking up this piece of plastic essentially and sticking it next to your face and speaking to this piece of plastic with no one on the other end. So I can see why, if people aren't used to practicing that method of conversation, they would feel uncomfortable. I'm personally not someone who's ever been that fond of making telephone calls myself, if I'm honest. In fact, when text messages first came in, I was a bit like, oh yes, I don't have to call people, I can just just text them. But that was the odd text to a friend. That wasn't loads of texts all day, every day, which is something quite different. So I'm not surprised that we're losing this ability to telephone as we're not actually practicing it. And when you think about it, it is quite a strange thing to do.
But equally, I'm going to defend the text message here because I think, you are busy. You can't always answer the phone. And it is quite useful for someone to say, have you bought the milk? And you can reply.
Oh, yeah, no.
It's kind of, that is great. But equally, sometimes you've got to make the call. And I'm not fond of making calls either. Don't tell anyone, though, Louisa, please.
Okay, I won't.
Now, all of this, of course, brings me to your book, How to Leave a Group Chat. It was something you experienced, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I think I'm absolutely not the only one. But in the pandemic, first there was one group chat. It was just me and a few friends, and it was an app called Viber, which I don't know if anyone still uses. And then I moved over to WhatsApp because everyone was, and then all of a sudden there were lots of group chats. And I guess it came to a head in the pandemic when somebody in a group chat was just going on and on about their new car, and everything became about that. And I just started questioning, why are we still in this chat? Why are we just listening to this? And no one's even responding now. And I just sort of went round down a rabbit hole, kind of looking into the wider kind of communication of why we behave in such a way around this technology, and how can I kind of help people to understand each other better, so that no one feels they have to be in these groups if they don't serve a purpose.
So,
Which
Louisa,
sometimes they don't.
Louisa, did you leave that? Did you just, oh, flipping heck, this person's still going on about this flipping new car? Did you just kind of like, cut it off at the knees kind of thing and left? Because then, of course, everyone gets a message. Louisa Guise has left the group chat. What happened?
I didn't. I just started. I guess my outlet was writing the book. I've left quite a lot of left quite a lot of group chats since, and it doesn't mean I don't, like the people I'm talking to. I still want to talk to everybody. I just don't need that group conversation on my phone. I don't need to be part of it. I don't need updates that once the purpose of the conversation's gone, you just get mundane kind of repetitive updates, and I don't need that. So
You see, I think this is very interesting because it's like where the old world meets the new world. Because if we were in a coffee shop and we were sitting there with this person who's going on about their new car, we go, oh, really? You've got a new car? You haven't mentioned that before. And we'd start to take the mick, or we'd change the subject. And it's really difficult to do that on these group chats, isn't it? So it's that, but if we just stood up and left, they go, well, what's wrong with them? So it's that, we're by being polite, aren't we, Louisa?
We're being polite, but also in this kind of bland digital world, you're missing a lot of the cues that you would normally get through conversation. So when you talk one-on-one, you can see the other person, you can hear their tone of voice. There's other cues in the room. Other people or other things might influence how the conversation continues or changes. We don't have any of that. And I think we've just walked into using this technology, but we haven't really stopped and considered, should I send every single thought in my head to everybody just because I can? Or is it appropriate to take a phone call while I'm in the gym changing room? Is that really appropriate? Things like that. We're not really thinking, we're just doing.
So is that your answer to it then? That really it should start with what we're putting on these group chats, not just leaving in a huff or looking like you're leaving in a huff because you just leave? Or do you warn people? It's like, okay, folks, I'm out. I think I've learned enough. I'm going. Or how do we leave the group chat?
It's more complicated than just saying there's one way in a way, because I think first we need to really understand the situation, understand how we're communicating with each other, who we're talking to, and the reasons kind of why we want to leave. I think in a lot of cases it is polite to write a message, just let everyone know. But part of that is educating people as well, that if someone says they want to leave a group chat, it doesn't mean that they hate you and they never want to speak to you again and you've done something horrendous and that there should be drama, because there absolutely shouldn't. It also shouldn't mean that person never ever wants to be in a group chat with you again either. Because if a new group chat comes along with a new purpose, then by all means, if they want to, add them. But, don't worry if somebody leaves afterwards, because that's just how conversations work. They just work while there's a shared purpose. And when that purpose is finished, conversations end, and that's it. So that's all it is.
So this is absolutely how the idea of the book came about, and why you need a whole book to explain all the various.
Yeah.
It is. You're absolutely right. We're humans. It's really, really complex. Can you ever see a time when we maybe start to put our phones away more and start to rely on face-to-face interaction, or has that ship sailed?
I don't think it's sailed. I think we're at a stage where we're starting to question the technology that we've just sort of started using. Some people are more aware than others, of course, but we are having these conversations now about particularly children, smartphone use, and if they should be using apps, or what apps they should be using, if they should be using them. There's definitely things like cafes opening where you have a lockbox and you put your phone away And the whole idea is to detox from your phone and actually interact with people. So there are conversations happening. I don't think the ship has sailed at all, but it is very difficult because these phones are designed, well, they've been compared to casino gambling machines. They've got flashing lights, they've got buzzing,
Yeah.
buzzing noises,
Yeah.
bright colors, and all of this, and also scrolling as well. All of this is designed to really draw you in. So it's not an easy tool to just put down and forget about. And you need it for certain things
Yeah.
too. You need it for your train ticket. You need it for, you might buy something in a shop and it's cheaper if you use the app or use the loyalty card that's not a card anymore, it's an app. So
I,
I think companies could also help out there.
I think what strikes me, and probably others of
Hello?
my, hopefully you can still hear me, it strikes me
I can, yes,
a
sorry, there was
great
a slight, yeah.
glitch with we being done in by the technology
Yeah,
here, Louisa. I think what
I
strikes me,
hope
and
not.
probably others of my generation, is the time before mobiles, everyone having, no, you didn't have everyday access to a laptop or a computer. How on earth did we manage? I mean, I think you grew up in the 80s, didn't you? So when did you have your first computer?
Well, I had a first computer when I was 11, I think.
Wow.
So I was born in 86, so I guess I'm more of a 90s kid than an
No, I
80s
see,
kid, you could
right.
say. So yeah, I got my first phone when I think I was 12 or 13, but it wasn't a smartphone because there weren't any then.
No.
It was a black phone that had a tiny screen in black and white, and only one other friend had a phone at the same time, so there wasn't much really to draw me in, to be honest. And I was being told off for not turning it on.
Yeah, good. Your mother wants, your father wants to know where
Yeah.
you are. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that
I didn't
that's
see the point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes. That absolutely makes sense. Tell me, you're still a part of group chats? Has it changed the way you communicate within them?
It has. I try to consciously not. I mean, there are times when maybe I'm relaxing and I might then engage a bit more, but I do consciously try not to fall into the trap of communicating straight away. Like I most days I'll check my phone throughout the day. I won't have it with me. I might look at some messages, but I'm trying to really be conscious and not just reply off the fly straight away, but to really take my time. And I don't need to reply to everything straight away. I don't, I can remember a time when there were answer machines and we might be out for the day, come home,
Yes.
my parents would go through the messages because most of the nearly all the time the messages were for them, and they would selectively say, oh, okay, I need to call this person. Oh, okay, that's not that important. They let me know about blah blah. Okay, great. Okay, great. I can pick up the car tomorrow. Don't need to call anybody about that. I'll give that person a call next week. So it was just a really casual, you know, we actually used to look at the messages and think, is this important? Is that? But we seem to have lost that ability to consider.
Yeah, it's interesting. You're almost going backwards into ye olde times. You
Yeah.
must tell me though about your tour. How did it go?
So I had a session at Cardiff Central Library on the
Yes.
23rd of January. That was really nice in the evening. I was actually in Coventry Library yesterday, which was really great. In fact, I didn't even get through the script that I had with me because people were contributing with their own discussions about their own experiences of smartphones. And I was in Wolverhampton last weekend as well, for the weekend. I did a talk up there and another one at a bookshop called Blue Sheep Books, who are really lovely. And
See,
what's really great is that everyone has something to say about this subject. Everyone has a story. Everyone has this. It's really a shared experience, and it's really nice to meet people and actually hear how their perceptions and how it affects them. So it's really great to get out and to meet people.
very face to face of you. Now, before I let you go,
Yes,
you've dedicated your book to your nana. Tell me about that.
yes. Nana was a pretty awesome lady, and she was the one who really I would give credit to for really stoking my love of books. She would just. I'm surprised that there are any books left in the charity shops in Cardiff because she would just show up at our house with like carrier bags just kids' books.
Fantastic.
And I just used to read everything. She'd take us to the library. So yeah, she gets the dedication because in terms of writing and reading, she was the one, I think, who pushed me probably more than anybody.
You've got to name her. You can't just call her Nana.
Oh, right. Her name was Mary Lubas.
And she's a smarty
And she
monster.
was yes, she was originally from Liverpool.
Top woman, top woman. Louisa, thank
Yeah,
you
she was
so
a
much.
great lady.
Thank you so much for telling us how to leave a group chat, how to be just a bit more thoughtful about our communications on our tablets and on our phones. And the book is How to Leave a Group Chat by Louisa Guise. It is out now and it's published by The Book Guild.